Hi, hi, hi. I'm on the highway, didn't get off. We just changed lanes. I'm John Zidar. This is On Top and Hot's live version. We do this every Thursday. I've been trading over at Penny Boys all day, which I do every day now between 9:30 and 4 o'clock. Trading with team members, trading with Penny Boys members, trading with the general public like you, anybody that stops in. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a link down below. Click that and come on in and see. We're trading there every day, taking fast scalps. And while we're doing this, we're learning a lot. So that's what these shows are about. And today we're looking at stocks that you have brought me. And as you can see, there's no other boxes around here, so it's just me. Taylor's okay. I saw her in the crowd. I did see her pop in there. There she is. Hi, Tay. And of course, we got my regulars here. I appreciate my regulars. It's always nice to see friendly faces. Velmore, Underdog, Mark Ryan. Yeah. Kashira, there you are. Just made it. And you newcomers, man, I appreciate you being here too. I don't know you. Say hello. Maybe I'll get a chance to say hello. Maybe I won't. Right now, everybody's taking bets if I don't hit the button every time. We haven't missed a show yet. I'm telling you, folks, I don't do this on purpose, honestly. So what we're going to do here is look at about 4 or 5 stocks that I've been given. I've got some pre-research on them, which will save us time so we don't have to bounce around at every page. But that doesn't mean I found everything. I could easily have overlooked something, and you may be aware of it, which is a good thing to bring up now. If you have me look at a stock and you know something about this stock, tell me. If you know what the catalyst is, give me a heads up and I can delve into that for you and get, instead of looking at all that peripheral stuff that really doesn't matter. All righty, let us jump on into this. I got to hit my button here. That's the button, yes. And then I should bring you over here where it doesn't hurt you anymore. We're all good. I can see you on my secondary screen here. Once I leave that site, I have no idea what you can see. I never even know if you can actually hear me. And there's no panic button. I can't see somebody hitting a button saying something's wrong. All right. First stock we're going to take a look at here. Nope, that wasn't it. Trying to get my notes up here just so I can keep tabs. I've been looking at a lot of stocks, a lot of information in here. This is ALDS, App Life Digital. Came to me from Velmore. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. So ALDS is on the OTC. She is an American company. Let me get back over here. There she is from California. Now, the one nice thing I can tell you about this company that you need to know, she is using her 10Ks and 10Qs, so you don't have to worry about any of that. We've got actual factual numbers. A lot of your OTC stocks don't, but once you get to the QB, the middle tier, you have to actually have financials done by an auditor, a CPA. Pinks, you're lucky if you ever know what's going on financially with them. So App Life Digital finished the day at 2.2 cents. Had a nice day. She was up 100%, which means she was basically at a penny and moved a penny. That's it. She went from 1 to 2 cents and you made 100% gains. Folks, these are some of the easiest gains you can get buying on the 0-1s. 001, 1 penny. All it has to do is go to the next digit and you've doubled your money. Hit the digit after that, you've tripled your money. These are really fast gains at these prices. She is on the OTC QB. She's got the verified information I'm telling you to look for with pinks, but you want to see it everywhere. Your verified profile and your transfer agent. And they've got independent directors listed here. On this site, the OTC markets, which is where I do most of my research. Well, I start here on every single stock because they cover every single stock. It's not just OTC stocks. I will start here. If they don't have everything I want, I've got other sites I fill in the gaps for. But on this site, when you see independent directors listed, it's a green over here. It means they're serious about uplisting. Now, I don't know. They may have just uplisted from the pink up to the QB. You've got to have independent directors whenever you uplist. And when you get onto these sites that you uplist to, these tiers, you can't lose your directors. If you lose them and don't replace them, they can throw you right back down off of these bigger markets. So what is Applied App Life Digital about? App Life, let me see. Uh-oh, I just lost my highlights. God, I hope it doesn't do that for all of them. I'll have to peekaboo at it. Okay, our description runs into the news here. This is an old piece of news that came out back in February, and there's three pieces of news I want to share with you because it looks like they've really been working hard on trying to make a deal for a long time, since the beginning of the year. And it looked like they made one, and I can't figure out exactly what happened to it. And then another one came into play, which is this one. And then they got a third one, which is what's going on right now. So this came out in February. AppLife Digital Solutions, a business incubator and a portfolio manager that invests in and creates e-commerce and cloud-based solutions. Basically, they're a holdings company, but more than a holdings company. Holdings company goes out and buys up companies that are either making some money, doing something, and they help them along normally financially. But an incubator, it's just what it sounds like. You got to care for it like an egg, like a baby in an incubator. It needs a lot of extra care. So these companies give these companies whatever the heck it is that they need. And of course, they're trying to create a successful company they can spin out onto the NASDAQ and give us free shares for. Well, they had a deal here. The Awareness Group, an emerging leader in the alternative energy business, today announced an update to a previously announced merger letter of intent. Both parties have agreed on the final terms for the acquisition. Now, when we look at the other pieces of news, God bless it, I knew I lost them all. And where is my news? There it is, every single one of them. All right, I was all the way back here in February getting that piece of news right there. Well, they terminated that deal. Then they were talking about another deal back here with Lasan, I can't even say that, Le Salon Beauty. I don't know what happened to this one either. They had two deals from the beginning of the year, and here they tell us they are terminating that deal we just read about. Then they tell us, all right, this is what's confusing. They say they are canceling, terminating the planned solar business. Well, the one we were reading has 5 different businesses. One of them is solar. The others aren't. So I'm presuming that's the business that they are canceling. The new one that just came out today, and this is the one that's sticking right now. That's the thing that bothers me when you see them get in and out of deals so quick. It's like, well, what makes you think that you're going to stay in this one? I mean, I see you getting in and out of them so quick, I'm not even sure. So really the best thing you can do is play these stocks quick. Just take the gains on the good news as she's running. When they come down, you may want to be out of them because God only knows if they're going to bring off another termination. But they tell us here that the company has signed a binding letter of intent with Silver Bear Sports Entertainment and Gaming. Silver Bear holds an existing real estate portfolio valued at approximately $150 million and plans to expand globally through the acquisition and development of premier hotel properties. They say the transaction is expected to close in the first quarter of 2025. That's the thing about these mergers. You hear about it now. It's 6 months down the road before these things close. And by the time they close, we've heard it so often, it's not new news anymore. So when it closes, you would presume that would be the big deal, the big pop. That's normally the littlest pop you ever get. The biggest pop is the virgin hearing. The first time you hear about a merger, I don't care if it's a memorandum of understanding, a letter of intent, we've signed the deal, doesn't matter. The first time is the biggest run. After that, they get smaller and smaller until nobody really seems to care. And then when it closes, it crashes. We see it over and over. I'm not saying I know what's going to happen. I'm just telling you what happens most of the time. So we've got a while here before this is going to close. So we've got catalysts. We've got a merger deal sitting on the table with a $150 million portfolio. What's going on with all the other stuff they were doing? I have no clue. You're going to have to do some more research on that. See what sort of relative volume. Well, that's not bad. Okay, we're down here on the OTC. I do want to refresh this so I can see. I'm looking at the shares. This is how many shares moved on the entire OTC. That's not just bought. That's also sold. You know, every time you buy, you sell. I don't know how they work that out, but that's all of them. Back before COVID, we were doing 60 to 70 billion shares a day. Today, we did 3.7 billion. That's like 0.5% of what we were normally doing. It's been like this for 2 years. Well, out of that, she's been getting about 22,000 a day. which is under the radar. Who the heck's paying attention to that? Today, she did 25 times her normal volume. It's not a huge number, but it's not bad down on the OTC. 1.2 million shares, and it is a big increase. A lot more people looking at it. Share structure. Well, I was going to say it's not great because they've got 160 million outstanding, but look how many the insiders own. 134 million. I mean, that's more than just a lion's share. That's top heavy. They've got a lot of them. We only have 26, 27 million, which is really good. We're not going to call it a low float, but relatively speaking, that's low. Now, the concern here is that now they're on the QB, so I feel a little bit better. But with your pinks, you have a problem with companies that own most of the shares, and they'll put out a nice, juicy piece of news and get that stock running. And who's the first to sell? The insiders with all those shares. They make all the money, and that thing comes tumbling down, and all of us get stuck. They call that a pump and dump. That normally comes from the inside, not from the outside. So you got to be a little leery of this. But again, because they're on the QB, I do feel a little bit safer. Market cap for the company, we're at 1.7 million. Financials, are they making any money? Well, they got revenues coming in. I wouldn't call it making money. And at the end of 2024, well, June 2024, the end of their year is at June, they had a whole $6,000 for the whole year. And it cost them $58,000 to do that. Not good. We got nothing here, folks. And it's getting worse and worse. They lost $1,000 in revenue. I mean, taking cans in, but not selling anything. They had to give money out, but they didn't make anything. And it cost them $46,000 because they had to put people in the store to collect the cans. Let's see what we got on the balance sheet. We got $22,000 in the bank. I know that's thousands because we've got 3 zeros we got to add. So when we were looking at that one, it wasn't $1. It was $1,000, which is still a joke on the market. Total assets, we got $161,000. And oh my God, there's the problem. Look at that. $2.2 million in liabilities, and we're carrying a little over 2 million of it. Well, they're paying themselves. Where do you think that money's coming from if they're not generating any revenues? Yes, we are supporting the management right now. So it would be nice to see them actually have a merger go through, have some revenue start coming in. Now, I'm not quite sure. I guess they're all hotels. They said it was a portfolio of 150 million. Now, 150 million might be 3 hotels. I don't know how much hotels are. I got to imagine they're pretty bloody expensive. Houses can be over millions of dollars. So what's a hotel going to cost? So they're going to be generating revenues through the hotels. How much? We're going to have to do some more diving, but they need to make some money and quit having us pay them. And disclosures, we probably don't have anything here, or else I would have brought it up. The most recent 10K, which just came out, well, that was last month. You really want to know what the company's doing in the 10K. That's going to be everything. It's going to be the deal they got into, the deal they canceled, it'll all be in there. And if you really want to make it easy to find, just use the date 2024 in your search bar and just use that. You're going to find a lot, but just go through the arrow and you'll find things that happened here recently. That'll straighten you all out. All right. I was going to turn this over to Taylor. Have her do the charting for me, but boy, she's been gone a while now, and I'm still missing her. I am still missing her. So we're going to jump over to the charts. Make sure you can see my chart. Yes, there was a delayed effect, but you can see it. We are going to be talking about this stock. This is one of the last ones requested by Mark Ryan. This is one we played today. Celu, CELU. This was a hot stock today, folks. It went hundreds of % up. We have been playing stocks over there at Penny Boys every single day. That's what we do. But every day there's been a monster ripper. Every day. SPPL was a monster ripper. I think she went 400% or 600%. Zidar just wouldn't quit climbing. And the funny thing is that when she's jumping, I put up those supports and resistances, and she moves between them. She hits her head, slows down. Every now and then she rips through a few. But as she picks up momentum, the gaps start getting wider and wider. So the next jump is a bigger jump. And when you buy 1,000 shares of any stock at any price, every penny it moves makes you $10. So when you are in a gap that's going from $2 to $2.30, and you get out a little before and you get in a little after, let's call it 25, 20, you're talking a $200 run in minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you're out with $200. And as it jumps through the day, these get bigger and bigger. When it bounces back down and jumps, it covers that whole big gap again. So these are really exciting. And Chelu was one we played today, another big ripper. But let's talk about why we're here. Ticker ALDS. Let's go back to a yearly chart just so we have an idea of what's going on. Not a lot going on, for God's sake. All right, if I draw a line here, you can see we're pretty much where we were a year ago, except for the rip that we took up. She did go up to 3.3 cents. And right now we're down here at 2.3 cents, which was her high virtually a year ago. She hit a low right here in the center in the middle of the year at 007. And off of that, she's just been going sideways. And in the last 45 days, she's been picking momentum, getting stronger and stronger. And I want you to take notice, even on our long chart, my 200 haul, which is purple when it's falling, blue when it's rising. I point this out over and over again. When it's underneath the price, it is a friend. This takes the current prices in consideration. When it starts to climb, it puts off heat and it causes the price to rise. Look what happened. As soon as it turned blue, that is when your biggest bar came into the picture. And this is going to help it start to climb through the 200 and continue climbing. Oscillators are looking real good on our yearly chart. Everything is pushing up. Quick glance at our 4-hour chart, pretty much looks the same. Let's come on down to our 5-day. Wow. It's going sideways right now, and there's really not a lot to be said for it. Let me go back to the half hour so I can get a view on the volume. See, volume is real low on it right now. We're not getting a lot of bars. This is every 30 minutes in the whole day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you had 4 hours of trading out of the whole day. It was an 8-hour day virtually. So there was only half the amount of trading there is on most stocks. So she's going sideways. She's taking a dip right now. She looks to be trying to climb on the long chart. You don't see a whole lot of that on the short chart, but you can see she's working her way up. Now, if I was to grab my regression channel right here at the low where it quit falling, I'm going to grab that and poke it. And this automatically puts a channel up for me. I don't have to do any work, just hit the right days. And this is showing me where she's working. Now, we're at 23 cents. She's trying to break out of that channel. She's been stuck in that channel for a few months on the long chart. She's trying to get out of it. Normally, when you break out of a channel, it's going into the next lane. You're getting out of the slow lane, going into the fast lane. You start getting bigger speed, more momentum. So she may be worth a watch. We did have some volume come into the picture today, and that's what you need. If volume comes in tomorrow, I'd be watching for the breakout. All righty, let's jump back here. I'm going to do something dangerous. I know this is going to increase the odds of what's going on. Look, he's back. Watch, see if he hits the button. Somebody remind me down there in the comment. See who's over here. Kashara Mark. Nobody knew. That's okay. I'm happy with you guys. I just don't want to have anybody jump in here and feel I'm not paying attention. So there's your bets down. Ha! You lost that one, didn't you? Yeah, I know. I thought I was clear until the very end of the last week's show. The next stock we're going to take a look at. We played this one yesterday. This was a hot stock yesterday. It may have been the hot stock. We've had 4 days this week, and we've had 4 hot stocks. I remember SPPL, Zidar. It may have been CDIL and CELU. It is so much fun. We got lots of stocks we can watch. But when you get one that just won't stop, and we know everybody's watching as soon as it halts, all these stocks get halted. And most people have no idea what a halt is over on the free members page. It's suspended. They're not trading it anymore. No. It's too hot. You just got to cool it off. You got to pull the car over, let that gauge come back down. But you don't know where it's going to pop. Is it going to go down or is it going to go up? Well, in a lot of these cases, it's been going up. But when it goes up fast and hard. Oh, my God, it's moving. Today, we had a couple halts, but she came back down. That's the way the game is played. So this one came from the underdog. Apologized. You apologized for something? I can't remember what you apologized for, but whatever it was. Because it was a biotech. That's right. Don't you worry about that. That's a pet peeve. If you can bring me a hot stock that's a mining company, lithium mining, biotech, I don't care. When I'm playing stocks, I don't even know what these companies do. All I see is a ticker and a chart. So I could easily be invested in, biotechs. I could easily be in a mining company. I don't know. I'm just playing the technicals during the day for the most part. So let's see what we can learn here. CDIO finished today at 42.5 cents. Had a good day. She was up almost 19%. That was up almost 7 cents. This is a penny stock on the major exchange, which has a lot more benefits than the OTC penny stocks. First off, they're free to trade, folks. You don't have to pay to get in. You don't have to pay to get out, which means you can trade entirely different on the major exchanges. You can scale in, which means you buy some when you're interested in the stock. You don't buy everything if you're going to hold the stock for a while because you don't know what's going to happen. And what if it falls? You've already bought all you could afford. You're losing money. You're hating it. It has to go in one direction if you buy everything. But if you buy 25%, it falls. Celebrate. We get to buy more on the floor. Just as she starts coming off that floor, you buy more. Not when she's falling, not when she's going sideways. When she starts climbing, you buy some more and you got it at a cheaper price. You buy them in chunks. And on the OTC, that's going to cost you. That's going to eat into your profits. And selling is the same way. When you get into a stock, especially the way we're playing, and we find places to sell. I know where I'm going to sell before I get into the stock. Well, if it looks like it's going to go past my sell point, I still sell. Not everything, but I still sell something. That's a payday. I don't miss a payday and wait the next week to get 2 checks. What if I get sick or he goes out of business? I lose my money, right? So I take my paydays. I'll sell 50%. When it keeps going at the next place that I find on my supports and resistances, another 50% of what I have, and just keep doing that. Or use a trailing stop loss. It'll sell at one point, or it'll start to climb in your stop loss. So follow you, folks, your safety net. And when it comes down, whatever you said, 20 cents, then it will sell. But it'll actually follow you. As long as that stock is climbing, you won't sell. Your stop loss will be right behind you. And only when it falls back, whatever you said, then will it finally sell. All right, enough about all that. We got a Chicago company here. They are a biotech. Let's see what we've got here. Jumping right on into the news. Cardio Diagnostics receives preliminary Medicare pricing from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services for AI-powered cardiovascular tests. Getting tricky here. Preliminary CMS pricing determination marks a key milestone in gaining broad access to Medicare reimbursement. If Medicare and Medicaid will pay for things, more people will use it. That can increase your market tenfold. The company is an AI-driven precision cardiovascular medicine company. They today announced that the company's Precision CHD and EpiGen CHD tests have received preliminary pricing determinations from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. They're going to get reimbursed. If finalized, this decision will be effective for claims with dates of service on or after January 25th. So a couple more months. This is supposed to kick in when they get a final determination. Doesn't sound like we've actually got it locked in the bag yet, but they sound real close. What else have I got here? I don't know. Well, don't think I need that. All right, let's take a look at what we can find out here. I'll glance over the news and the filings, make sure we didn't skip anything here. Normally isn't a lot of news with your biotechs. It's off and on because there are lots of research in between each thing they do. Relative volume for the company, we're up over 3 times her normal volume, jumping from 3 million shares a day as an average over the last 30 days to about 9 million today. Share structure, don't know what the float is. It's not a bad outstanding share count. It's only 24 million. And we know the insiders are going to own something. How much? I don't know. You can find that out going into their 10Ks. Subtract that from the outstanding, we've got our float. Well, it's going to be lower than 24 million. That's not a bad float. Taking a look at the financials. Are they making money? Okay, they've got money that just came on the books at the end of 2023. Let's hope that's continued through the quarters. Yeah, well, Maybe they've got a product on the market nobody can afford, nobody wants to pay for, but once it gets paid for by somebody else, it becomes a hot cake. So hopefully this changes. This looks like it's probably not even got anything to do with products because they're not paying anything for the revenues. And if you've got a product, you've got overhead. You've got materials, manufacturing, packaging, shipping. You got all sorts of overhead. So I'm not quite sure where that money's coming from. Balance. All right, they've got about 1.3 million in the bank, almost 4 million in assets. Liabilities are under $1 million. So we are holding stockholder equity of $3 million in this company. So if you were to take those 23 million shares, was that what it was, and divide it into that number right there, your stockholder equity, that would give you an asset-based price for the stock. And doing that quick in my head, I think it's less than that. But there's lots of ways to figure out the price. That's just one way. Take a look at the disclosures, see if I missed anything. We have a bunch of Form 4s here, and I did look at them. I'll just show you one. These are filed whenever the insiders acquire or dispose of the company's common stock, like you and I own. And they can do that in a lot of different ways, but we're interested when they buy them and sell them. That's a token sign. If they start selling a bunch and throwing it away, something's wrong. If they buy a whole bunch, something's going on. And they know more than we do. So even though there's not a news press or a filing, their actions are speaking loud. Well, these are not purchases or sales, and I know that just by coming here, dead center in the code. This one here, there's nothing there. If it was a P, it's a purchase. If it's an S, it's a sale. These happen to be stock options. It's part of the stock. So all 4 of these are stock options. I have no idea what they're about, but we have nothing else here really to consider. And taking a look at the news, just to make sure I didn't skip anything, that was the only piece of news that we've got here was the Medicare, Medicaid reimbursement. So let's go take a look at ticker CDIO. Over on the charts, that is. Don't mind the kids and dogs in the background. I'm not at an office. I'm at home. And they're not my kids, but they are my dogs. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. Ding, ding. My mouse is acting funny. It's like getting cold or something. All right, let's go back to the full year. We've got a high here of $3.56. That was back in January. And we've got a low of about 19 cents in October. As you can see, we've got lots of supports and resistances here because we were playing it. She's been in a downtrend since that high bubble all the way down to that low bubble. And it was off that low bubble that she started to bounce. Can't see it very clear here, but we will down on the other charts. All of our oscillators are climbing on the yearly chart. So we've got strength going all the way back. Taking a look at our 6-month 4-hour view. Is that 4 hours? No, I knew that wasn't 4 hours. That's too pretty. Mouse is just acting up now. So we're in a downtrend from $1.86 underneath the 200. This is looking like a atypical breakout, but she should have done it somewhere in here. Now, what I'm going to do is, because I know that's difficult to see, I'm going to take all these off for a second, and I should be able to bring them back if I remember just by hitting my Control Z. So a atypical breakout, when you've got your 200-day falling like a ski slope, the price underneath it also falling in the same direction. And then all of a sudden, the two start closing in on each other, and your 200 starts to level out and go flat. That's when you have your breakouts. You do not have a breakout on a falling 200. You'll have a pop through and come back down like a submarine with its periscope, but it won't stay up there. And if it tries to, it's going to slip and fall, and it's going to come down further than where it started. That never ends well. So you get pops, but you don't get breakouts. But once that 200 starts to level out, just starts to level and go flat, that's it. That's when you get 9 out of 10 of your breakouts, folks, just like we got going here. And notice, here's our 200 haul. We're getting our biggest jumps when it turned up. Just want you to see that, folks. Then we've got a big spike here. The bar went up to the 200, but did not go over it, and the spike went over it. Coming from home all the way at the bottom, and the second bar did not come down any lower. This is what I call a directional intentional spike, and as far as I'm concerned, a breakout is going to occur. I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm counting on it. So when I see that, it doesn't mean it's going to happen directly, but in short due course, it is going to happen. And boy, this took off nice. Once she got up over the 200, the bars got big. She came down, she bounced on it one time, and she has launched herself. And the bars are getting super big as all of our golden crosses are occurring. Our 20 is crossing 200, our 50 crossed right there, a big one crossing, and our 200. Lots of strength in the picture. All of our oscillators are on fire and climbing, every single one of them. This is a beautiful chart, the 4-hour. Take a look at our 1 hour. I don't like my mouse. What's it doing that for? So we had a breakout from 19 cents, slowly working over that 200. Had a nice jump right there, came back down, tagged the 200, and then launched. She's riding her 50. Coming up, she pushes, bounces off her 20. You notice how she moves from bigger MAs to smaller MAs as she gets more and more strength. She is graduating up. She went off her 50, up onto the 20, and now onto the 9. Boink, 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 boink. That's what you're looking for. Now, what we've got to be careful of is when you get this light, the price can start to fly above the 9. Well, there's nothing else up there for her to sit on. So she has to come back down. The price does not fly. It bounces. So it can't stay way the heck up there. There's nothing for it to stand on. So it's going to come back down. And if it goes too high, it's going to crash. It's going to break this paper thin 9-day, probably go through that semi-thin 20, and hopefully land on this dual dynamic pack of the 200 haul and the 50, and that will hold it. So when you see a stock start to go super parabolic, sell, 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 folks. That's a good sign she's coming down. If there's no floor underneath her, what's she going to do if she can't fly? She's going to fall. Take a look at our 15-minute 5-day. We're on an uptrend, and she's gaining momentum. She was in an uptrend here, just floating on her 200. That's all she's doing, just floating on her 200. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a nice, steady, easy growth. Then she got hot. I guess this is the news that came out yesterday when we played it. Yes, we played this from 27 cents up to 51 cents. We had lots of jumps in there. We had lots of takes. She came back down. I don't know if we played it in the afternoon. I can't remember. We may have been on to something else because normally whatever runs in the morning doesn't normally run in the afternoon. You got to find a whole second batch of eggs hatching for the second half of the day. And then today, she started running again, bouncing off of the 50. She took what I like to call a rubber ball. Oh, man, that's a cup and handle. Look at that. We got a cup, and then she falls down 1/3, 1/4 of the cup's depth, no deeper. She did take this drop, but you know what? I like that drop because these bars are sitting up on their MA, the 9, and the wick is going through multiple MAs. Think of it as a pillar going through dirt, sand, and bedrock. The more it goes through, that tells you if the building stays on the ground and you have a pillar going deep, the next bar is going to be big. The next couple of bars are going to be big. So between your directional intentional spikes and these pillars, you can normally find yourself a climb. And she's in a steady climb right now. She is still climbing. She's had some volatility. She could get some more volatility. All of our technicals right now, our oscillators, our PPO, our MACD, our RSI, they are all falling. But that doesn't mean it's falling. It just means on our short chart, she is dipping right now. She could easily just come down to the 50-day and bounce again. Now, I don't know if she's going to run on this news anymore. She may need more news. And how much news do we get from this company? One. We had one piece of news. That's all we had. So it could be a while before this bounces again. So put it on your watch list if you want. But the key, we need volume. Without the volume, don't even think about it unless you're interested in a long hold waiting for that January run when Medicare says yes. But what if they say no? All right, back to the board. Uh-oh, drum roll, maestro. He's coming back. See if anybody's screaming at me. See if I've done anything wrong. Evening all. Hello, David. Good to see you. Let's see if I can remember to pull these down too. I'm putting a stop loss bet on you. Yeah, well, right now I'm a good bet for you because I haven't had a day go by that I do this by myself. Oh, how about that? I can stop that so I don't. How many of you just had convulsions? So much to do, so much. Hey, Brian, good to see you. Yeah, We Buy. We were watching We Buy today over at Penny Boys. Absolutely. Who we got here? Klupar. What's happening in MVST? Somebody asked me to cover that again on YouTube. I did cover them a while ago. I just haven't got as much time to cover stocks as I used to. So don't think I'm ignoring you. It's just I hate to say no, so I just don't answer your comment. I know that's horrible, isn't it? I just hate to say no to anybody. Okay, what time we got here? 4:35. We're not doing too bad. Okay, hit the button, John. You guys are loving it and you know it. Next stock we're going to take a look at. No, I'm not going to say anything about it, but this Trump, our new president, he's made a big difference on the market, folks. Everybody knew that Trump and the market go hand in hand. When he's in office, the market does well. Well, today I was looking and Trump was over here at Twitter and he is posting his cabinet members. He's posting the people he wants in his cabinet up here, kind of like this, just like that. And he's saying, folks, I want your honest opinion on this guy. Should I indoctrinate him into the cabinet? Have we ever had a president come to the people and ask us if he could put these people in the cabinet? I'm just saying, it was kind of unique. So I've got my Twitter account, I got my Google account, and I got my Titan News account, just in case we need to do some extra research. We're not going to just trust the OTC market. That is not the end all to be all. So we are looking at ABIT. You like that, Velmore? Yes, Velmore asked for two of them. And since nobody was giving me any tickers today, I guess they were all waiting on Powell talking. We got our interest rates dropped another 0.25%. I think it was 0.5% last month, 0.25% this month. Whew. It's been like 2 years. 2 years after going up and not having anything change, we're finally coming down. And I think the market is changing. I've been noticing a lot of sales at the markets because they just don't want to abruptly drop the prices. So they're making them look like they're sales when it's just the prices are coming down right now. Yes, I'm feeling pretty good about that because I've lost weight and I'm already skinny. So ABIT came from Velmore. I did write some notes on this. Let's see what my notes tell me. Right. Only thing I wrote is the company is involved with Bitcoin ATMs in this country and other countries as well. This is Athena Bitcoin Global, ticker ABIT. She is out of Miami, Florida. She finished today almost 14 cents, and she was up just a little over 27% gains, which is almost 3 pennies that she jumped today. She is on the bottom tier. She's on the pink. This is the most riskiest tier on the OTC for one reason, because there's not a lot of validated information. It's not requested of them. They're not required to present it. So they don't give us a whole lot except news presses, which get us all excited and get the stock moving. So take every news press with a grain of salt. I'm not saying anything about any particular company. I'm just saying you as a person, take it from a guy who has lost over $40,000 trading pinks, believing what they say in news presses. I didn't always know what I know now, and that's why I'm telling you, just take it with a grain of salt. Get in, get out, take your gains. If it's for real, you can get back in later after it dips. So the company's got the only validated information you get with the pink, verified profile and transfer agent, and that comes via the OTC markets. This is their job. They do a lot of things over here. They are actually on the OTC markets. You can invest in the OTCmarkets.com if you wanted to. So I told you what this company does. What sort of news do I have to share with you? Well, we did come right to the news, and the only news we have are two pieces that came out on the same day, reiterating the same thing, that Sam Nazaro is to represent Athena Bitcoin at the CBC Summit 2024. Which is a good thing. All of these conventions, whether they're talking to business owners or they're talking to investors, they're stirring up excitement. They're trying to get money into the company, either through the back door or the front door. We don't care. Just bring that money in. So he's out there stirring that up. Now, I did not see how many machines that they had. As a matter of fact, let's see if this ever opened up. No. I did open up their website. They've got a map. There's like 3 of them. right here in my state, Michigan, not too far from me, within 20 miles. You know, you can sell your Bitcoin in the machine to get cash. It's not like I guess you could buy Bitcoin, but I mean, can you imagine how much money? So you can convert your Bitcoin into currency so that wherever you're at, you have money to spend. Just because your wallet's broke or your credit card's limited out doesn't mean you don't have assets. And a lot of people put their assets into Bitcoin rather than banks. They just feel it's safer there. And the returns can be a heck of a lot bigger than it is sitting in the bank, especially since Trump came in office, right? It took a huge jump. So we got anything over here? Not since January. Officer director disclosure. They're changing some directors inside. That's all I saw there. I didn't see anything important. And I don't think we have any news outside of that. So there really isn't any catalyst that I see. Now, the first thing we could do is see if Abit has anything on Twitter, because I tell you, these Bitcoin outfits do like the Twitter accounts. My silly mouse just isn't working very good. All right, see, Abit. You know, I probably should have used the name of the company, shouldn't I? Yeah, that's smartest. And where are we at? Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. I would trade mouses under normal circumstances, but I don't think you guys could wait that long. All right, let's see here. Come on, have a website. There it is, Athena. So let's hope they have some new news here. October 30th was the last piece of news. It's not actually news, is it? We're excited to join Casito Pablo from Bit2Me, blah, 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 moderate. So it was the talk. They were talking. I don't see any information here. TDC applauds Senate banking's efforts to foster collaborations. And I guess that's the big thing here, is because Trump is pro-Bitcoin. As far as I've been able to tell, he's got nothing against cryptocurrency. Anything that generates revenues, he seems to be pro. You know, cannabis, he's not against it because he doesn't puff. He's not against it because he grew up it being a bad thing. He's for it because it does $26 billion worth of business a year just in our states, locked up in every state. How much more would we do if we took down all the borders and we could sell California herb to Maine and Maine's to California, and more importantly, all of our smoke to the rest of the world? We're missing out on all of that. So I'm expecting business to just grow and grow, and Bitcoin ATMs could start popping up all over the place. They could just be like every other ATM. So that's all I've got to share with you on it, except for information on the stock itself. There's been a lot of Bitcoin companies running, whether they are AI Bitcoin data centers or they're mining Bitcoin or whatever they're doing. If you're attached to Bitcoin, you're running right now. And look at the volume burst here, going from about 400,000 shares to 4.3 million. You're looking at over 10 times her regular volume. Share structure for Abit. Oh. All right, we got a lot of shares out there, 4 billion shares. See, now this scares me. That's too much. The insiders got 4 billion shares. Yes, we got 4 billion, 9.5 million shares out there. 4 billion, 9.5 million. They have 4 billion. We are left with 43 million shares. They have about 9 times as many shares as we do. That's a little top heavy big time. This is one I'd watch for, man. If this thing ever started to run, they've got so many. That's a lot of freaking shares, folks. I am worried about that. I'm going to put up a big red flag on this pink, because 4 billion shares for the insiders. And why haven't they had a reverse stock split? Most of these pinks that hit a penny, between 001 and a penny, are having reverse stock splits, especially when they have billions of shares. Why didn't this company do it? I'll tell you why they didn't do it. You would do that. You'd put yourself in front of people who have money and will invest in your company. That's a company that wants to grow. You exalt yourself in front of other investors because you know you look good. They stay down here because when this thing starts to run up to $1, these puppies are going to sell their shares that they did. Because if we do a reverse stock split, they would go through it too. They would lose all their shares too. They don't want to do that. They've got so many freaking shares there. They're going to make a lot of money. Big red flag here. Just saying. Market cap for the company, $450 million. Financials, the sort of money they make in doing this. Whoa. They're doing pretty good. They did 68 million 4 years ago, 191 million at the end of 2023. Cost them 164 million. Sure does cost them a lot. I guess making these machines is expensive, or having to pay some sort of royalty or commission for the people that are operating them. I don't know. That's a lot you're putting out. But they're making money, 27 million in profit at the end of 2023. Pretty steady here. Look at that. Over the last year, it's more than doubled. It was at 31 million in 3 months back a year ago. Now we're at 70 million. It did drop a little bit, but I mean, we're doing good. They're pulling in $10 million profit every single 3 months. That's good. What do we got in the bank? We got about 21 million in the bank. We got 62 million in assets, 42 million in liabilities. Yes, so we're in there. We got positive stockholder equity of 21 million. We do have revenues growing. We are making profit. I like everything fundamentally, but I don't like that share structure. That is a big, big red flag to me. Disclosures. We've been through this. Yeah, we did. We didn't have any news. So that's all we got going for it. I think there's a chance she can run. I mean, being with Bitcoin, having ATMs, that's good business. That's something we're all going to be partaking of, which just end up as part of our community. I do believe there are other companies doing this, though. They're not the only ATM Bitcoin out there. So make sure you do your homework if you're thinking about investing this in the long term. All right, let us go take a look now at ABIT on the charts. This will be the first time I've looked at ABIT. Have not had time to check her out, so I don't know what's going on. All right, our 15-minute chart looks good. I like that. Let's go back to our 1 year so we got an idea of what she's been doing. The Trump coming into office has made all the change. That's going to be my guess here, folks. Back in January, we were at 44 cents at a high. She's been on a downtrend all this time, coming through the 200. We had a poke here. Don't know what the heck that was about. You could find out because it came right back down. I'm sure it was news oriented. Floating on our 200 haul. Now, you wouldn't see that, right? If you don't have the 200 haul on your chart, you would not see how much she is respecting it. This is my point. Penny stocks really, really respect the 200 haul. So if you had all these other ones and not that, it would just look like she was ready to fall some more. You just see her hanging underneath everything. But she is actually sitting on something. Then we had a dip here, God knows why. Came back up for a whole nother month or so. And then here, she is ripping, folks. Taking off, take notice. Our blue 200 haul, big, big bars. So this is an indicator, folks. When you see that 200 just starting to go level, and I have mine separated in colors because it is that dynamic. As soon as it starts turning up, and I don't want to look at it going, is it doing it yet? I can see in an instant, it's about ready to go blue. Boom, signal, signal, signal. Lots of volume. Look at the volume here. And all of our oscillators are just ripping to the moon. Everything is on fire there. This is a very hot chart for a yearly chart. 4 hour, downtrend, big rip, low bubble, and there's your takeoff. So she was sitting on the 200 here. Kind of tough to see, but she is actually sitting on the 200 haul. She bounced off of that and just ripped through everything, floating on our 9-day MA. Notice how the bars are sitting on it, literally on it. But this one got too high. Could it stay up there? No, it doesn't fly, it bounces. So it's coming back down, but it hasn't touched yet, has it? No, it's still way up here. So I'm presuming this is still going to come down and fall down to, well, where it sits now, it's at 8.8 cents. But of course, that's going to be moving through the day and through the night and in the morning. But I do expect this to come down and tag that the rest of the way. However, that's not falling. That's a pullback. That's just a dip. It's got to do that. Kangaroos bounce. It doesn't just go in the air and stay up there. But all of our MAs down here are curved up and ready to climb. So that tells me she's not falling. She's just dipping because everything else is still pushing up. There's heat coming up. And look at our oscillators. We're in the overbought here, having come down for days. The MACD is climbing. Our PPO is climbing. And this is my ADX. It puts out a straight line whenever the trend is going in one direction. Doesn't matter if the line is up, down, or sideways. So when this line changes, you've had a trend change. So we can see right here, she was flat. Go up, you can see we started to climb right there when this line went up. And right there, it's a very slight bend, right? But she did change. She fell from here to here, just a little bit. So we have got a very, very hot chart on the year, on the 4 hour. How about the hour? It's not a bad chart. It looks scary, but look where she's sitting. On that nice limb, that branch coming out, she's sitting on her 9-day MA. Problem is that the 9-day is too far from the 20. She's either got to fall down to that 20, close that gap, or be patient and go sideways, waiting for this stuff to come up. So if she starts going sideways, just watch and watch and watch. As soon as she gets something to put her feet on and push, if she's got volume like she's showing here, chances are she's going to jump and start climbing again. And down to that pretty start we saw, 15-minute. She's starting her uptrend right here. Low bubble of 2.2 cents. Floating on her 20-day. Took a bounce off that 20. She's now getting on her 9. Bounced off the 20 and full launch onto the 9. Just floating on it all the way up. You can see she did pull up here, right? She got too high. Had to come back down. Got to sit on something and continued on. Hit her high here. Could we see she was going to fall? That was a big fall coming. Well, let's look straight down. What does, as a matter of fact, if I mark this, you can see it a lot better. Let me grab my timeline here. Right there. So there's our fall. I'm going to put it right in between the green and the red bar. So we do see, now we're on the 15-minute. Let's come down to the 5-minute because we're probably not trading on no freaking 15-minute. All right, we're there. Look, she's going sideways. Soon as that bar turned red, soon as this, look at our crest. My 9 is starting to crest over. Right here, you definitely know something's wrong. But could you see it beforehand? Our volume fell away. We have no volume. Our PPO is going sideways, but she's been doing that for a while. No giveaway. I don't see anything on the ADX. Might have been able to read it in the RDI, but it tells me that in the next 10 minutes, you should have seen that something was not right here. Things are starting to look flat and pushing down. So you should be able to read the charts. There is your biggest giveaway. I knew there should be one there. Our 20-day MA. I talk about this in videos, folks. Look at her lay here. Laying on it, right? She starts climbing, but what happened as she was climbing? My 20-day is going flat. Like a roller coaster. Click, 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 click. When the clicking stops, you're flat. And then, whoa! Well, her clicking stopped right there, man. She's going flat. And this is when you've got to be leery. When anything crests up to the top where it looks like it could roll over, that's a bad thing. I don't care wherever it is on your chart. It's a bad thing. So this is an uptrend right now. I don't see a whole lot of catalysts outside of the Trump thing. It's not like she's got any new news for herself, but the Trump thing could keep things running for a while. This is a whole new catalyst we haven't had for 4 years, right? Actually, we haven't had it for 6 years because poor Trump got stuck with COVID halfway through his presidential election. I bet he was peeved off about that. All righty, we are done with Abbott. Everybody still here with me? Yes, I looked over. I don't see my big head. So we're going to come back here. Place your bets, folks. Roulette wheel. The wheel is going round and round and round. There's somebody new. Who is this? I'm not going to say your name. I'll call you 617. Wait a minute. That's McLeahy. McLeahy at Mr. Leahy. God dang it. Can you look at BIEI? I think we're about to see a mega PR. Thanks. Waiting for PRs is horrible. I mean, God only knows when they're going to put a PR out. Well, let's see if I have anything else saved here. I am going back in, folks. Drum roll. Ha ha. Yes, I do have one more. I want to talk about Celu, ticker CELU. This came from Mark Ryan. This is one of the hot stocks we played today. It was impressive. Nobody could foretell what this was going to do. All we could do was watch it and set up for quick plays. You don't know how high it's going to go, so you don't say, how high do you think it's going to go? And you know what other question you're not supposed to ever ask when you're scalping? When do we sell? You always know when you're going to sell before you buy a share. You've got your trade planned out. You have your entry, you have your sell at target, and you have your sell if it goes bad, your stop loss. And that all goes in at the time you buy your shares. So when the play is happening, sit back, let it happen. You don't have to make any decisions. Your emotions aren't going to get involved. You're not going to have to worry, fret. It's a done deal. And if you take a loss, it's okay because you're taking gains this big, at least 3 to 4 times as big as the loss you're willing to take. You get in over a support, you're ready to take that many gains, you put a stop loss underneath with that much loss. It'll take 3 to 4 losses to equal 1 win. So the trick is just win more often than you lose. I know that sounds stupid, but when you're playing probable moves from one support to the next, you have a very strong likelihood. Scalps are the most winningest trades made on the market. More successful scalps than any other trade on the market. There are stats to prove that. And this is by 60, 70%. Most people are winning more often easily, folks. And we don't worry about how much money. You don't say, how much money can I get? How much money am I making? Never worry about that. If you're winning, you're making money. You don't count your money at a poker table. You just scoop in the winnings, get into the next hand. That's all we're doing. Get into the next play, scoop in your winnings after you hit your target. Just that easy, folks. Celu. This is a company out of New Jersey. Cellularity. Finished today at $3.09. She was up 113% at the end of the day. I know she was up higher than that. Another hot penny stock in the major exchange. Comes with all those benefits we were talking about earlier. So what is Cellularity about? This is a biotech company leading the next evolution in cellular and regenerative medicine by developing allogenic, cryopreserved, off-the-shelf, placenta-derived cell therapies, including therapeutic programs using unmodified natural killer NK cells, genetically modified NK cells, and T cells with CAR T cells. It's as much as I'm reading. They're working with a lot of important things in the medical sector. This also has a warrant. Whenever you see a company on the major exchange, most of them have warrants. Warrants are coupons that you can buy and use in the future. It gives you a guaranteed low price to buy a share at. It may say you can buy a share at $1. Right now it's 85 cents. You say, why the heck I want that? Well, in 3-5 years, it may be $20, $30, $40, and you get to buy a share for $1 for every warrant you have. But if you don't want to do that, you can just trade them as stock. Get in, get out, get in, get out, take your gains. These things are penny stocks. They're always cheaper than the stock. I'll show you. This one here is at just under 2 cents. It was up 5.8% today. Normally, if a stock is moving hot, the warrant will move hotter. The warrant will move on less volume, go further. You can see hundreds, thousands of percent gains. The problem is that there's big gaps because the liquidity is an issue. And it could be at 2 cents right now, and the ask could be 10 cents. And you say, holy cow, 10 cents. Ain't nobody going to buy that. It's going to be here forever. Boink. Someone buys it and you go, oh my God, I just made 500% profit. And you did, except the bid didn't move with it. The ask was hit, but the bid stayed at 2 cents. And you've got to wait for another bid or two to come in. And it may be 10, it may be 7 or 5, whatever it is, then it'll move up. Well, you're not going to get the 500%, but you may get 200% when it gets up to the 5. So they are fun to play, but they are definitely not scalping stocks. You've got to be there at the right times. Set up your plays, though. You find where a stock hits a ceiling, that's normally where it's going to hit it again. Put a sell in just under the ceiling before it hits its head. Take those gains. So back to our stock. So let's see what we've got for, what do I have up here? Do I have anything? I do. They had big news come out today. On November 7th, the company raised full year 2024 guidance. As expected, net sales went through the roof in October. Basically, that's what they're saying. They gave us their financials, and they were good, folks. And they gave us projections. They're telling us how much money they think they're going to make, and it's more than what they told us before. This always seems to have a good positive effect on the chart. You're doing better than you told us. The company raises their full year 2024 expected net sales guidance to 54 million up to 60 million, compared to the previous guidance of 50 to 56 million. October's net sales of 8.3 million to 8.9 million marks the highest single month figure in its history. So whatever goop placenta stuff they're selling a lot of it right now. For the full year 2024, the company expects net sales of its advanced biomaterial products to grow by 180 to 212% over the prior year. There you go. That's it in a nutshell, folks. You can break down the numbers all you want, but we're talking about 180 to 212% increase. So what was the relative volume on this news today? Wow. I'm not going to do the calculations there. It may be like 150 times her normal. Quick thinking there. We went from about 37,000 shares on the NASDAQ. That's way under the radar. To over 46 million shares today, folks. That is a freaking explosion. A paper war. How many shares has she got? Oh my God, no wonder it was running. Outstanding share count is only 21 million, and they sold, what was it, 43 million? Let's go back. I know short-term memory, all these numbers. 46 million. So every single share had to sell twice over today. That's good. That is great to see. Now, I don't know how many shares are in the float because they don't tell us. Again, just take away whatever the insiders own. That's going to be our float. Whatever it is, though, it's a real decent float. Market cap for the company, we're at about 32 million. Financials, are they making any money? Yes. Over the last 4 years, they've made gains, going from 14 million up to 22 million, with some ups and downs in the middle. Profits are falling, though. Back when they only did 14 million, they had over 9 million profit. Here they've got 22 million and only made 6.5 million profit. I can't imagine that biomaterial has an inflationary factor to it, but maybe it does. Cash in the bank, not very much cash, $227,000, though I'd like to have that in my bank account. That's enough for me. Total assets, 143 million. Total liabilities, 101 million. So we do have positive stockholder equity of 41 million. So everything's looking good fundamentally. I like the share structure. It's all looking sound. We got any? Yeah, we do. What is this one? That's got to be the financials, right? Yeah. With every 10K comes out an 8K as well. One has more details than the other, but they're both a long read. But you can read either one you want. And that's what I would suggest. If you're interested in the company, forget about Google, forget about going through their press releases. Just dive into one 10K or Q and dive into that 8K. One or the other will give you all the information that you need. So that is everything we've got for Chelu, except that hot chart. Let's go take a look at Chelu. Yeah, had to look over. I freaked out again. Thought I forgot. What time is it? We're at 5 o'clock. Look at all the, I forgot to put my lines back on that other chart. Doggone it, I have to do it all over again. All these yellow lines are done manually, folks. They don't have a program that does this. Closest thing you'll get is a Fibonacci, which I could use here. The Fibonacci is a tool that puts down Fibonacci numbers. These are magical numbers. I don't know why they're magical. It just appears all over in nature, and we can't explain why. But if you poke the top of a big run or a big drop, start at the top, and then come down to the very bottom, it will put off these white lines. Here, I'm going to take these yellow ones away so that you can see what we've got there. Thank you very much. I'll put that right back. Those white lines are supports and resistances, and the price is going to respect them, even though they're not attached to any historical price point. They're magic numbers. Again, folks, I can't tell you why they work. This shows up all over in nature, but it does work. But we will find, I wonder if I can go back. Yes, we can find other supports ourselves that go in between them. So there are multiple ways to do this. And we were playing this all day between each of these supports. And each one has got its own play. You're going to get in just over top of one and out just underneath this one. So this is a little play. That's a big play. Now you're looking at this going, why the heck would I get out of that? I know you don't want to get out of that. That's why we have the sell at every payday philosophy. You never know when this rocket is going to run out of gas. You don't. And it could fall twice as fast as it was climbing. And you're not going to be that fast. So don't think I can get out when I see it. No, you can't. No, you can't. That's the problem. Asking how high is this going to go means you're trying to do something that can't be done. And if you did it, you just got lucky. You just got lucky. So we sell at each point. If I got in down here, lucky me, and she started climbing, I would sell half of what I own right there. I would carry 50% up and just underneath this one, sell another half. That would leave me 25%. I would then get the next one up here. I would sell there. It's still freaking going. So I'm not going to sell everything. I'm going to sell half again. Now I got 12.5%. You know what? 12.5%. I just made money on top of money on top of money here. Believe me, you are not losing money by selling at each payday. I promise you, because these bigger ones are taking in more gains and you have less risk. And if it ever fell out from underneath you, you got your money in your pocket. Nah, 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 nah. That's how you cheat the market. Take the money every time it gives it. Just because it's giving more doesn't mean you don't take it. Take it when it's there. When you get up to 12%, 10%, you want to try to find a ceiling, go for it. You've got enough profit now. You've got a little bit of shares there. Let that baby run and see how far you can take it. Practice and see if you're any good at it. Lessons teach you more than just, theory. The other thing, I don't say this very often, but I used to do it a lot. When I used to trade stocks that were strong, I believed in the companies. I thought they had futures. When I got strong gains out of a stock, I would leave shares there. About 15% of my hold, I would just leave there and forget about it. I wouldn't even watch it. At one point, I had 26 stocks that I had free shares in. Just left them, just forgot about them. Together, I think they were worth about $600 or $700 when you added them all up together. I came back 6 months later when I was trying to buy a house. I liquidated a bunch of assets and I sold all those. They were up 700% across the board when you added it all up. So, 7 times my $700, about $5,000. And I wasn't even paying attention to them. They were just growing in the background. And now that we got Trump in the market, folks, we could start seeing a change in the market. I don't think that's too far to expect. I think we could start seeing things start coming back. Wouldn't that be nice to see the OTC come back? So what did this stock look like all the way back a year ago? We had a high of 797 back in March. Fall for a while, but she really just fell down to the 200 right there. I'm going to get rid of these again. I don't like them. They're blocking my view and they're blocking your view, aren't they? Bye-bye. She is sitting on the 200. You've got to respect a stock that respects the 200. That's her 200-day average. That's where she should be. So she's respecting her price, doing what she should be doing, not jumping around, acting silly. She started the dip here. Can't tell you why she started the dip. People got bored. There are other places to put your money. People just move money. It's not that they're abandoning the stock. They say, I'll come back later. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. We hit that bottom here, a low bubble. She went sideways, and then she took off. Now, do we have a 200 haul? That 200 haul is way the heck down there, up there. So she was way down here, folks. She took a jump on that news from $1.50 up to $5.25. You're looking at 350% gains at minimum there. All of our oscillators are still hot and climbing right now, and you can see they're in a poor position. Our PPO is underneath that pink line. Our MACD is underneath the signal line, which means there is more ceiling. They can go higher easily, just getting back to normal. Just getting back to normal. So we've got a lot of strength here, and our RSI is right up there at 66 right now. Take a look at our 4-hour chart. Flat, flat, flat with that cup coming over there. Taking a look, we've got our 9-day doing a golden cross on the 20, on the 200, just now crossing the 50. Price is floating on that 9-day, 9 days crossing the 200. Everything is starting to turn up. We haven't seen our 200 haul turn yet. The 50's flat and turned up. Our 20's turned up. This is just getting ready. So what are we looking for? Well, on my chart, we're waiting for that to go blue and a big bar. Boom! Another big bar. Sell. Sell after that big bar. Don't get greedy. Look, folks, if you win 10 times, that's 10 pots you've pulled in. You know you've made money. You don't have to count it to know you're making money. Just take a gain every time you can take it. When you go to the casino and you put in $20 and you're betting 80 cents on every slot and it says you just won 30 cents, do you say, reject? I don't want that. It didn't meet my 80 cents. No, you take every gain you can get. When it's given, you take it. That's the one thing the casino taught me. When it gives you money, you take it. When it gives you a lot, take it and walk. Just take it and walk. Take a look at our 1 hour. That's got to be looking sweet too. I want to see what the oscillators look like. So she dipped under the 200, had a nice breakout there. All of our MAs are turning. There's our 200 haul turning blue. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Oscillators. All of them are way over everything now. They have cooled off because she had a nice pull back because she's sitting on top of her 9-day. This is looking like it's ready for continuation, folks. She's got all the signs. She's sitting in the right places. And from here, it looks like I want my channel. The channel is going to give me what I'm trying to do there in my head. That's what I was looking for. She is in a channel. When you find an up channel or even a down channel, you can make money when a stock is falling because it's bouncing up and down, normally in a channel. And if it's in a channel bouncing, when it gets down to the bottom of the channel, it normally bounces back up to the top of the channel. And when it's at the top, it comes back down. So it doesn't matter if you're coming downhill. If it's at the bottom, it's going to climb to get back up to the top. And then it'll fall even bigger because it is in a downfall. So to me, this looks like she's getting ready to do some bouncing. But again, the ticket is going to be volume. Without volume, you can't predict nothing. You can have it jump up, you can have it jump down because people look at it and make up their mind what they're going to do all by themselves without any factors of other people doing stuff. When we're all trading together, we trade differently. When you trade by yourself, you don't always do the right thing. All right, that is everything I had. What time is it? 5:13. Oh boy. All right, I'm going to come back here. Yes, we're putting down bets. I hear the money. Ching, 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 ching. We'll get rid of you. Hi. Let's see. We got any new comments here that I haven't seen? Can you look at BBI? All right. We do have time to look at a couple stocks here. Looks like there aren't a whole lot of asks. You know what, Mr. Leahy? I think you're in luck. Okay, Kashera, I see you, hon. Oh, you were just screaming at me. My ears are ringing. I hear ya, Kashera. Mr. Leahy, he's not been here before, Kashera, so I'm going to do him first. Nothing personal, okay? I'm just showing a little love. All right, Mr. Leahy, we're going to take a look at BEIE, and we got to remember to hit the button. I almost ran. You guys almost cashed in on me there. Yes, we're there. BEBI. Was that it? No. BI. Oh, man. I got to come back and peek, folks. I got to come back and peek. BIEI. Sorry about that. BIEI. BIEI. Phew. Come on. You guys get tickers confused too. I'm not the only guy that does that. You don't have to have dyslexia to have this problem. So we are looking at Premier Biomedical. I wonder what this company does. Probably a biotech. Okay, this is a U.S. company. They're out of California. Premier Biomedical on the OTC bottom tier, the pink warning, Will Robinson. They've got their validated information. They say they're a shell risk. That means they're supposedly in business, but they're not telling us about any revenues. So maybe they're really not in business. They just passed a rule here not too long ago, FINRA or the SEC, probably FINRA. If you do a deal, you make an acquisition or a merger and you get assets in the deal, that constitutes revenues, which constitutes business, which means you're in business, even though you're really not. You just closed the deal. So that could be the situation. We'll find out as we move along through here. She finished today at a decent price here, 0009. Now, 000 stocks don't move fast. These are the hodls, HODL. These are ones you buy and hold for a long time because you can buy a lot. And when they pop, when they finally do move because you bought them so bloody cheap, you can make some good money on them. But the problem is that they sit down there for months and months, and you could be using that money somewhere else. So if you're throwing a $100 bill on a 0004, okay, I get it. She hits 004, you just made yourself $1,000. No problem there. But to put anything more than that and wait months to see anything happen, But when you start approaching 001, you're moving into a new phase. This is a new game, and we are just about there. And what did I say about the 001s? This is the next one. It goes from 9 to 1, not to 0. It's not going to be all zeros. No, the very next price is going to be 001, which means when it hits 002, you've made 100%, 003, 200% profit, so forth and so on. By the time it hits 005, you've made 500% gains. You don't have to put a lot of money on these, folks. Gains are gains. Don't get greedy. Just keep taking the gains. Every single day, we're finding stocks that move like this. It's not as hard as you think it is. Find the volume, look for the lines on the chart climbing. They're telling you it's climbing. And find those zones you're going to sell. That's where we lose money. We don't know where we're going to sell. We're looking for an exit in a burning building. No! Get out of there before you get burned. You should always know the exits before you get into a trade. Both good and bad exits. And you should be putting them in with your trade. So what is this company about? Premier Biomedical. Okay, Premier Graphene is engaged in high-grade graphene production. So they're not a biotech. Smart ass. Yes, I said it. They create graphene-enhanced products. Its principal focus currently is state-of-the-art, new generation ballistic gear. With our team of excellent scientists and collaborators, we have commenced our advancements in these new and exciting endeavors towards a more sustainable future. We expect to be one of the leading companies in our field and a huge aid to the Western world's defense, aerospace, and green energy sectors. I want to take a look over here at their website real quick because I get the feeling we're talking bullets, we're talking vests, oil and gas. So we went from biomedical to graphene to oil and gas division coming soon. Well, there's a heads up. Had no clue that that was there. Didn't see any news about it. And I'm not seeing, let's see, we got products up here, oil and gas brokerage. So they're in there. So you may want to do some more research here, folks. Looks like they've got some new division kicking in. They've already got a team built up for it. But looking for the information, I'm trying to find out here what sort of graphene products. They made it sound like they were making some special bullet or, you know, a bulletproof vest or something like that. I do not see any information here to help us. So let us take a look at the numbers. Then we'll go to the text. We are looking at less volume today. She's been doing about 2.8 million shares a day over the last 30 days as an average daily. Today, she only did 1.5. She lost about 40% of her volume. Looking at the share structure, yeah, we got over 1 billion shares. Insiders have respectable holdings. They've got themselves 200 and, wait a minute. Nope, I thought that was millions. It's not respectable. They got diddly squat here. They got 239,000 shares. Come on now. Come on, folks. At this price, why aren't they buying this stock up? Lock, stock, and barrel. Big time, right? It's their company. They should be buying it when it's super duper cheap because they know they're building this puppy up and it's going to be worth something. They only got 239,000 shares at that picking price. Do you know, folks, that you can buy 1,000,000 shares at 0001 for $100, 500,000 shares at 0002 for $100. So 239,000 shares is not a lot of shares, especially at this price. So again, I'm not liking this. This tells me something about the insiders. Why aren't they holding their own stock? Is it all preferred stock? Is there something we don't see in the background? I like to know more. We get the entire billion in the float. So when this starts hitting 00 numbers, closing in on a penny, expect a reverse stock split. However, they have to have approved it already. Has to have been voted on by shareholders. You're going to find that in an 8K, a 6K. Good luck with your pinks telling you this. You could also go to Google, put in the ticker, the name of the company, and put in split. If there was ever a mention about it, I'm sure Google can tell you about it. And if they do have a split, they only have to give you a 5-day warning before they do it, just so you're aware of that. Voice is going. Where are we? Financials. But of course, I wasn't expecting any money. I really wasn't. We got nothing coming in on the annual, nothing coming in on the quarterly, and we got nothing. Nothing in the bank. How are they paying themselves? We have $3,000 in assets. What? A used car costs more than $3,000. And we've got $2.5 million in liabilities. Somehow, where the hell did that come from? Capital surplus. It's been there all along. Capital surplus has been here all along, has never changed, right? What's changed here is retained earnings. The difference here, between here and here, we were at a negative. Now, something changed with retained earnings. All those fell off, and we now have $13.5 million in stockholder equity. Need to dive into the financials, though. With pinks, you don't get any information except what the management gives you. It's not like they're required to cover A, B, C, and D for the most part. How many shares we got, who owns what, they got to cover that. But they don't get into the whys and the hows. So we do have a lot of money here. They're not making any money. They're not doing anything. They've got way too many shares for us. And to show you how many shares it is, divide 13 million by 1 billion. That's what the stock's price should be based on assets. Take a look at our textuals now. See if we have anything that's going on. Haven't had a filing since 2021. The most recent financial came out in August. That's a ways back. And news. Are we expecting anything here? Well, okay, we do have news. This is kind of old, but it's kind of interesting as well. We've got two pieces of news I want to look at. One in September, Premier Graphene receives confirmatory concrete and mortar test results from global leader in sustainable construction. We're probably making a graphene concrete, and it's got to meet standards. That's what that sounds like. And then the most recent piece of news came out at the beginning of October. The company's Mexico affiliate and business partner, HGI Industrial Technologies, executes a joint venture with Santa Rosa Green Seeds to advance industrial hemp initiatives in Mexico. Now, hemp is cannabis, but don't think of hemp as cannabis, especially down in Mexico. Mexico, they don't have legal THC. I think they're trying to get 0.3%, maybe 3%, but it's not a thing down there. But hemp is. Hemp is, folks, in case you didn't know it, we used hemp big time back in the 1930s and 1940s. It was legal. We were making plastic out of it. We were making car parts for bodies, car body parts for cars. We were making fuel and putting it in our cars. But because the steel industry, the wood industry, the oil industry felt threatened, they made hemp illegal and created marijuana, which the Mexicans brought in, which creates rapists and murderers and all this sort of stuff. So we made it all illegal so that those businesses could retain all their gains. Hemp is used in all sorts of things, plastic. You can actually make plastic that breaks down in a time limit. You can put a time limit in it. You can make glasses, flip-flops, sheets, houses, concrete, insulation, medicines. It just goes on and on and on. Hemp is the cheapest form to make anything because, one, it takes carbon out of the air to grow it. It is constantly pulling carbon out of the air in whatever products it's made from. Check that out, right? Most people didn't know that. It needs 1/3 less water than cotton. It's stronger than cotton. It's more durable than denim. I mean, hemp is a great product. So third world countries would be very smart to start focusing on cultivating hemp. Marijuana, THC, the stuff we smoke and eat. Yeah, eat. We have to grow that indoors. You can have a greenhouse or lights. It's a lot more work, a lot more expensive. Hemp, you can grow outdoors. You can grow a lot more hemp outdoors. And hemp cleans the ground, takes all the pollutants out of it. You can even use it anywhere that a nuclear bomb was dropped, or we had that nuclear meltdown over in Russia, wasn't it? Wormwood. God, I can't remember the name of it. They have got all marijuana all around this place, and that is leaching out radiation. It's the only plant we know that will remove radiation from the dirt. Hemp is a miracle plant, folks. Absolutely a miracle. And in case you didn't know it, it is actually mentioned in the Bible. But that's a conversation for another day. So out of curiosity, let's just see if there's any numbers here. Wow, look at the size of that picture. Woohoo! Looking for numbers here. 8,000 hectares. A hectare is about 2.5 football fields. So you got about 20,000 football fields here that they're going to be planting hemp in. Wow. I wonder what it is they are planning on growing. I mean, to produce, to make. You'll have to jump in here and see what the deal is here. But this is a good thing because America is way, way, way behind on hemp. We had all the industry and now we don't have it anymore. We don't have the factories to produce things out of hemp. We don't have a lot of companies that are grinding hemp down so that people have material to make hemp products from. If third world countries get on the bandwagon, they can get way ahead of us. Now, I don't mean to call Mexico a third world country. I apologize for that. I'm just saying countries that aren't as far economically advanced as we are, they can definitely get ahead by using hemp. So, did we cover everything? That is everything except the chart. So let's go check out BIEI. This is why I copy it, because I don't remember. Hey, look at that. I don't see my head. You all lose. There's a little money button down there by the comments, folks. That's my shout out. You can donate money to me, or you can just pay up. I did not put my head in the screen without it intended to be there. So pay up, folks. Ding, 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 ding. Okie dokie. BE, no D on the end of it. Did there used to be a D? Probably did. Whenever a stock is changing, maybe moving, adding shares, stuff like that, they will actually put a D on the end of it sometimes. Let's back this all the way out to a year. Another sideways stock. Actually, you see the 200 falling right there. I'm going to actually back this up 3 years just so we have an idea. God almighty. Look at this. Way up there. So that's how long it took for this. It fell so fast, it took years for the 200 to catch up. That is incredible. I am going back 5 years. Whew. Well, that's as far back as I can go. I don't see any reverse stock splits here anywhere. We had a low of 0002. Wow, look at that. She shot as soon as the 200 got close. She was under that 200 for so long, so lonely, couldn't ever climb up. There was nothing left to grab. She was waiting for it. Look at that jump. She went from that 0002 up to 008, which is 5 times 8, 4, 40,000% gains. $100 bill down here would have made you $40,000 up there. My math is right. You go ahead and check that one. She came back down onto the 200 and she's been bouncing off of it over the last 5 years. But you can see she's not making any headway. She hasn't been going anywhere for a very, very long time. Coming on down to our 4-hour. She's bouncing around the 200, and that's all you're going to pretty much get off of this stock are bounces. Now, the bounces aren't sad or anything. We're going, well, here we're at 001, my nice buy price, and it was about a whole month. She got up to, what? 001 up to 0017. That's 70% gains on that. So she's not moving very far here, folks. She gets these weird jumps every now and then, but they're tough to tell. Now, again, you could be looking at your MAs, right? Look here. We've got our 200 falling, our 200 went blue. Now, yeah, she is already starting to run. But when does heat come into the picture? During the blue, not just when we see it the first time. So all this blue was a lot of heat. On this chart, the 4-hour chart, you should be looking at long charts, even though you're trading short time. This tells you the overall direction. You ever tried following behind somebody and guessing where they're going? Well, you have no idea they're turning this way, turning that way. But if you go to the long satellite map, you can see where they're going. No matter how many times they turn, you can see where they're going, like our channels. Well, she's going sideways in this channel. And it doesn't look like she's giving it up, folks. I can come down to any of them. She's just going sideways, beating it to death. I didn't glance down at the oscillators because I presume they were all going sideways too, and they are. Everything is going sideways. I'm not quite sure what was up with BIEI. Did a friend tell you about it? Oh, you said there's a big PR coming. Well, if you know about a news press coming out, if somehow you got a heads up and you know, that's a good thing, because right now she is on a slight downtrend underneath everything. This would be a good time to get an entry position. Now, if you've got a heads up, I'm not saying inside information. If you've got a heads up, maybe you want a bigger hold because you know it's going to run. But the way I see it, folks, you're not losing money buying in a second and third time at higher prices. If you got in down here and she ran up, no, let's say you got in here when she turned blue. She started here at 0009. You get in at 0011. You see she's running, but you only bought 1,000 shares. And you say, darn, I wish I'd have bought more shares. Why don't you? Because it's more expensive. It's at 0012. But isn't that going to make money too when it goes up? Everything is on its own purchase. We like to average all of our sales together. But the fact of the matter is, every purchase is on its own. Just because you buy a stock 3 times doesn't mean it's really averaged together. That's just a convenience the stock market brokers do for us. If you bought it at $1, 50 cents, and 25 cents, and your average is 40 cents, whatever it comes out to, and you say, and it goes to, I guess that would be 50 cents, and it goes to 35 cents, and you say, darn, it isn't hitting my average of 50 cents. I can't sell. Sure you can. You bought shares at 25 cents. That is its own separate order. You can sell those at 35 cents and not touch the 50-cent shares and not touch the dollar shares. But you got to tell your broker to do that. It's called first in, first out. Whatever you bought first are the first ones that you're going to sell. And you didn't know that, but that is by default. So if you sell your dollar shares at 35 cents, you're still going to get all the money in your pocket you want. But what's going to change is your average. Your average is going to go way up now because you lost money on it. But if you put in last in, first out, the very last shares you bought will be the first ones you sell. And if they were the cheapest, you're going to be able to sell those 25-cent shares at 35 cents, make a profit, and your average will go back to what it was before you bought those 25-cent shares. That's something you've got to do. So you could buy an entry in here. If she dips, buy some more. If she climbs, buy everything. If she starts running and you didn't get everything you wanted, buy them. Who cares if they're more expensive? It's climbing. It's not about the cheapest price. It's about the direction of the stock and when you entered. If you entered when it's climbing, you're always making money. The win is what's important. Get your mind off the dollars and quit confusing yourself, folks. We are at 5:34, and I think I'm going to call it that. We didn't have a whole, I'm sorry. You want to look at Radar. I know that, Kishira. We did look at Radar, the Bully app. which is in the midst of a merger right now. So it's not like we have been ignoring radar. We're just not going to look at it today. My voice is totally going now, folks. Taylor, we do miss you. I am managing, and I actually did not do anything wrong today. I think I swore twice. C'est la vie. And in case you folks didn't know it, some of my YouTube videos are being pulled down now by Google. Old ones that are 9 months old, a year old. They say I am putting out harmful and dangerous information. I don't know what the heck I said, but honestly, I know the sort of stuff I say. I can't imagine I really said anything dangerous. In either case, they're gone. I appealed it. I asked for somebody to look at it. I pushed my button. That's all I had to do. And in about 2 hours, they said appeal denied. Okay, thanks. So hopefully we're not going to have too many of my videos disappear, because I've been warned. They say if you do this again, we can remove you. And it's like, but what did I do wrong? They said down below is the list. You know what they put in the list? My video. The whole video. Well, that doesn't narrow anything down for me. What, you don't want me to do videos anymore? Welcome to my world. And welcome to this show. I did appreciate you being here, folks. I'm going to be here next week. Maybe someone will be with me. Maybe they won't. Either way, we're going to have a good time. Between now and then, stop into Penny Boys, the Discord group. I'm over there every day between 9:30 and 4 o'clock, folks. The Stock Wizard. If you don't want to talk, don't talk. You want to watch, you just want to learn, then do that. But pick up what we're doing. We are training people how to scalp, showing you how to make money today so that you can actually walk away with money in your pocket and maybe have learned something. But we do this because we're an educational Discord group and we want to train you. If you're finding it hard to trust somebody, that's why we have this page. We want to earn your trust. And this is where we do it. So I invite you, get down there and click that link. All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Adios. I got a funny face coming for you.